Power Ride or Die. Episode 2. New player, same old town.
Rob sits at his kitchen table. After returning home from the long drive taking Juan to hide and lay low, he said he will stay out the city for a week or two with his parents, Mama Maria and Pa, in York, PA. They live in the suburbs away from the city chaos. The bags of money and drugs in front of Rob on his table. At his apartment, the weight of his decision hangs heavy in the air as he contemplates his next move. The morning light filters through the window, casting a stark contrast to the turmoil in his mind. His thoughts race as he considers the dangerous path he has stepped into. Rob sat at his kitchen table, the dim light flickering above him, casting shadows over the bags of cash and drugs that now sat in front of him. His fingers tapped restlessly against the wood, but his mind was spinning, weighed down by the gravity of what he'd just stepped into. What the hell am I doing, he thought, his eyes darting from the pile of money to the drugs. This ain't me. I'm just a driver. I pick people up, drop them off. His mind flashed back to the gunfight. The adrenaline, the chaos, the bodies hitting the floor. He had pulled the trigger without hesitation. 6 shots. Just like that, he ended a life. And now there was no going back. You didn't have a choice, Rob, he told himself. It was him or you. He would have killed you without blinking. But now you've got this. His eyes lingered on the money more than he'd ever seen in his life. This could change everything. I mean, a guy like me. A few days ago, I couldn't even make rent. Now I'm sitting on enough to get out of this shit for good. But deep down, he knew it wasn't that simple. He couldn't just walk away. Not now. Not with Juan, not with maybe a cartel. And definitely with this much cash, he doesn't know who would be looking. What's the plan, Rob? You can't keep this here. Someone's gonna find it. Juan's already talking about connections, crazy white boys in Chicago, and God knows what else. You're in the game now. You stepped into their world. And once you're in, there's no leaving. The weight of his decision pressed on him harder. He pushed his chair back, standing up to pace the room. You can't trust Juan. Hell, you can't trust anyone right now. But this could get you out, or it could get you killed. He glanced at the duffel bags again, feeling the pull. You gotta move this. Get it somewhere safe. It's too hot sitting here in your kitchen, like it's groceries. If someone finds out what's in these bags, you're done. He ran a hand over his face, feeling the exhaustion catch up to him. Storage unit, it's the only place. For now, you can figure out what to do next later. But for now, you gotta hide this, before it's too late. Rob grabbed his jacket, pulling it on as he glanced one last time at the table. The bags seemed heavier than ever. Not just physically, but with everything they represented, the choices he made, and the choices still ahead. It's too late to turn back now. With that, he scooped up the bags, slung them over his shoulder, and headed for the door. The storage unit was waiting, and so was the next chapter of his life, one he wasn't sure he was ready for. Rob drove quickly and cautiously to the storage facility, knowing his car was hot with all this weight in his trunk. Made no stops and was glad he didn't see any cops. Determined to protect his newfound assets, Rob decides renting this storage unit is best way to keep this hidden. He carefully packs the money and drugs into nondescript boxes, ensuring they don't draw any attention. The secure storage facility is on the outskirts of the city. He chooses a unit far from prying eyes, ensuring it's both discreet and secure. After locking everything away, he breathes a sigh of relief, knowing that his home is no longer compromised. The relief is short-lived, however, as he knows this is just the beginning of a much larger ordeal. A week passes, during which Rob continues his day job as an Uber driver, maintaining a facade of normalcy. Rob pulls up to a cozy suburban house, and a woman in her mid-30s slides into the back seat, looking both amused and exhausted. Rob, hey there, how's it going? Passenger sighing with a smile. Oh, just escaping the madness. My husband's losing it over the Phillies game again. Rob grinning, he's a Phillies fan, huh? Must be wild. Passenger laughing. Wild doesn't even begin to describe it. When the Phillies play, it's like he becomes a completely different person. One bad call, and he's screaming at the TV like they can hear him. Rob chuckling, screaming at the TV? That serious, huh? Passenger rolling her eyes. Oh yeah, I can't even sit in the room with him anymore. Last time, he threw a pillow at the wall because they missed the catch. You'd think he was on the field or something. Sounds like a rough night. Rob said, passenger. Rough? That's an understatement. When the game's on, I pack my bag and head to Cherry Hill, to my parents' house. I can't sit through it. He's pacing, cursing. It's like I'm living with a lunatic. Rob laughing. So you're here hiding out Jersey while he's losing his mind over the Phillies? Passenger grinning. Exactly. The moment the game starts, I'm out the door. I just can't watch it with him. He's too intense, and I actually want to enjoy the game without feeling like I'm in the middle of a war zone. Rob smirking. What's your plan over at your parents' place? Relax, catch the game in peace. Passenger nodding. Yup, I grab snacks my mom puts on her comfy blanket, and we watch the game like normal people. Meanwhile, my husband's probably at home throwing a fit if the Phillies are down by a run. Rob shaking his head. Man, I thought I'd seen crazy fans, but he takes it to another level. Passenger laughing. You have no idea. If the Phillies win, he's all pumped up and celebrating like he hit the home run. But if they lose, oh boy, he'll sit in silence for hours stewing. I'm like, babe, it's just a game. But nope, might as well be the end of the world. Rob. Does he act like that with the Eagles too? Passenger groaning even worse. Trust me, the only way I survive baseball season is by getting out of the house. It's safer that way. Especially when these teams make the playoffs. She said, Rob laughing. At least you get some peace at your parents' place. Passenger. That's the only reason I survive. I watch the game with my parents and let him get it out of his system. Trust me, it's safer that way. Rob laughing. Maybe the Phillies need to send him a stress ball. Or 5. Passenger grinning. Seriously. At this point, I should put him on some kind of fan rehab. The man's heart can't take another close game. They both laugh as Rob makes a turn down a quiet street. Passenger shaking her head. I love him, but I can't deal with the game day crazy. Maybe I'll just stay at my parents' house until the season's over. Rob grinning in the rear view. Smart move. Consider me your official getaway driver for Phillies games. Passenger smiling. I just might take you up on that. The conversation ends on a light note, with Rob sharing a laugh as they head toward her destination, the calm humor contrasting with the darker undercurrents of his life. It's a brief moment where he can escape his own chaos and enjoy a funny, relatable chat. This is how Rob avoids drawing any attention to himself, moving in silence and planning his next steps meticulously, keeping his real day job. The tension is palpable as he navigates his routine, always looking over his shoulder. Juan returns to Philadelphia and arranges a meeting with Rob. They sit in a quiet, dimly lit diner away from curious eyes. Rob, there's something you need to know of the botched deal. Juan begins, his voice low. Marcus, the guy who was killed, he wasn't just some random person. He owned a sneaker franchise and was using the old warehouse as a front for his operations. The warehouse was a key part of his business, and all the main players in his crew were there. They all got caught in the crossfire. Rob listens intently, absorbing the information. So what's our move now? There's more, Juan continues. Victor pulls the strings to all the major crime in Philly. Bank robberies, drug deals, scams, murders, you name it. He's the real power behind the scenes. I just recently found out when Marcus let me in his crew. Marcus was showing me the game. He was a good guy. He told me Victor's not a regular businessman. He has a secret office on the 2000 block of Ramstead Street, Center City, bro. I'm meeting with him to explain what happened and figure out my next steps. Rob nods, understanding the gravity of the situation. Are you going to tell him about me? No, Juan replies firmly. Not yet. I need to see how he reacts first. But you should come with me. Stay in the background, just in case. Let's head there now. Power ride or die.
Episode 2, new player, same old town.
Juan enters the back door of the building, greeted by Victor's henchmen. They give him a nod before grabbing him and patting him down for a search. They guide him inside, into a dark room, then up a small flight of stairs quickly into Victor's office. Victor is seated behind a large desk, his presence commanding and intimidating. On a phone call, his eyes lift as Juan steps inside, his expression unreadable. Victor laughs, saying, Lario, hold on, he just walked in. Victor says, okay, I call you back, ending his call. Juan, Victor says, his voice calm and measured, cutting through the tension in the air. I didn't expect to see you so soon. Poppy. Mockingly calling him Juan Shifts, trying to steady his nerves. I needed to talk to you, Victor. His voice tight, barely masking the fear. The operation at the warehouse. It was a mess. We lost a lot of good people and a lot of money. Victor's expression hardens, eyes narrowing as he leans forward. How bad is it? Juan's gaze darts around the room, looking for an escape that isn't there. Shit went south, Marcus. Everybody's dead. Victor leans back, a smirk creeping across his face. Oh, but here you are, the sole survivor of the bloodbath. Juan forces a tight-lipped smile, sweat forming on his brow. Yeah, Jesus was watching, had my back. Victor's eyes narrow to slits, his voice cold. No one else survived. Who killed Scarface? Juan hesitates, flicking his eyes toward the henchman standing nearby. I don't know. Victor's expression turns icy, voice dropping into a low growl. You got the product? The loot? Juan shakes his head, heart racing. No, I got out of there. Victor's anger simmers, barely contained. His voice, filled with menace, cuts through the room. You're working for me now, Juan. Juan's defiance flares, despite the danger in front of him. I know Marcus is dead, but no, fuck no, said Juan. The response is immediate. A fist slams into Juan's face, the impact echoing in the room. He staggers, trying to fight back, but he's outnumbered. The henchmen lay into him, kicks, punches, each blow landing with sickening thuds, the sound of brutality filling the space. Tony Sticks, one of the henchmen, laughs as they pummel Juan, his laughter a cruel soundtrack to the beating. Finally, Victor raises a hand, signaling them to stop. Juan lies on the floor, bloodied, broken, barely conscious. Victor leans forward, his voice dripping with amusement, eyes gleaming with menace. You see, Juan, this is what happens when you try to play with the big boys. You're not ready for this level of the game. Not yet. Victor's henchmen haul Juan up roughly and toss him out onto the street like garbage, leaving him bruised and battered. Outside, Rob watches from a distance, hidden in the shadows as Juan limps, barely able to stand, dragging himself to his car. Juan didn't even look around. He just climbed into the car, gunned the engine, and swerved off Ramstead, barely able to keep control. Rob kept watching, and then they came out. 2 or 3 guys, loud, obnoxious, laughing, cracking jokes, slapping hands. One sparked up a cigarette like nothing had happened. Rob's jaw tightened, now he muttered, I can't let these fools do him like that. Then laugh about it. Then he fired up the Fusion, smooth, clean. Headlights stayed off. He pulled forward slow at first, then faster, then glided slightly down the narrow alleyway, hugging the curb. He didn't honk, he didn't shout, he didn't even give them a warning, and then wham, the passenger side mirror smashed into one of them. The man was lifted off his feet and flung to the ground, landing with a loud, pained grunt. A burst of cursing followed. What the fuck, K? He said, motherfuckers. The guys were yelling, they turned in shock, yelling after the car, but Rob was already gone. No plates, no slow down, just rubber on pavement as the Fusion cut the corner onto 21st Street. A clean getaway. They had no idea who did it. No clue what it was for, but Rob knew. That was for Juan. A message, not loud, but clear. A block and a half down 21st Street, just as Rob exhaled. Red and blue lights lit up his mirrors. Shit. He eased the car to the curb, hands on the wheel. He'd been cool this whole time. He'd keep it that way. 2 plainclothes detectives stepped out of an unmarked vehicle. One had that tired cop look in his eyes. The other, a black woman with a sharp, serious face, had the energy of someone who paid attention to everything. They approached on both sides. Evening, sir, the man spoke first. Detective Rodriguez. This is my partner, Detective Ava James. Philadelphia Police Detective Division. Rob kept it easy. Evening. Ava stepped forward. Do you know why we pulled you over tonight? No, officers, not sure. Rodriguez, we saw you coming off Ramstead Street. That's not a common route. You were a little aggressive. Mind telling us what you were doing back there? Rob, cool. Just cutting through. I drive Uber. That area saves me from the congestion. Time is money. Ava nodding. License and registration, please. Rob hands it over. Sure, here you go. Rodriguez scans it. Robert Tripp. You out here working tonight, Mr. Tripp? Rob. Yeah, just trying to keep my ratings up. You know how it is. Ava curious. You weren't picking up anyone on Ramstead? Rob blinks. Nah, just passing through. was headed back to Broad. Rodriguez, all right? Sit tight. They step back to their car. Inside his vehicle, Rob lets the silence settle. His heart rate doesn't spike. His eyes stay forward. One thing he learned early, never show sweat. After a few long moments, Ava returns. Ava, everything checks out, Mr. Tripp. You're free to go. Just watch those dark streets. Some of them aren't the safest to cut through. Rob nods once. I hear that. Appreciate it. But he knows one thing for sure. This game is only getting deeper. Rob breathes a sigh of relief. Thank you, detectives. I'll stick to the main roads from now on. The detectives turn away, heading back to their car. Rob watches them through the rearview mirror as he drives away, tension slowly leaving his body. That was a close one. He pulls out his phone trying to check on Juan, give him a call, but no answer. So he decides to turn on the Uber app, following his regular routine, trying to push away the night's violence, slipping back into the mundane routine of ride-sharing. Detective James and Rodriguez return to the precinct, going their separate ways. But Ava can't shake the feeling that something was off about the traffic stop. Her instincts gnaw at her. Unable to let it go, she heads to the surveillance room, determined to dig deeper. Sitting at a desk, multiple screens blinking in front of her, she fast-forwards through the footage from the camera on 20th and Chestnut. She zoomed in on the top corner of Ramstead Street, as close as she can zoom, her eyes narrowed as she watches Rob's car. She rewinds the footage, slowing it down, paying attention to the time he spent there. Rob's car was at the alleyway much longer than he claimed. The cameras weren't positioned well enough to catch everything, but Ava's suspicion deepens. She leans back in her chair. She's seen him speed off, her mind racing, contemplating what Rob might have been up to. Why did he do that? The episode ends with a close-up of Detective James' determined expression as she makes a note in her case file. She's going to keep a much closer eye on Rob moving forward. To be continued. Power Ride or Die Episode 2, New Player, Same Old Town. The end. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode of Power Ride or Die.
Next coming up, Power Ride or Die, Episode 3, Dual Life. Everybody's got something to hide. In this next explosive chapter, secrets run deep, and some alliances, they're not what they seem. Detective Ava has her eyes on Rob. She's not letting up. While someone else is playing both sides of the law, caught between the duty and the darkness they swore to fight. Daily tension rises, and loyalty gets tested, and the dual lives start to unravel. Stay tuned. Power Ride or Die, the audio series.